is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/bgunlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are going to be doing our top 10 remotely playable games because of current circumstances, and because this might be beneficial. I see this question gets asked a lot, like, hey, can I play games? What games would be great over the phone or over the internet? I know we're a little late as a lot of states are pulling away from their stay-at-home orders. However, this is still a viable list. So, Brad, why don't you go ahead and tell me how you made your list?
Really quick before I do that, I just want to say this isn't just for like the circumstances now. If you live like in Podunk, it's a good thing too, because this would be a way to game with people.
Yeah, or if you have family that lives like overseas,
Right.
or something like that. Like there's a lot of circumstances besides what's currently happening that this list and these games would probably be great for. And it's kind of an off the wall one. This list was very hard for me.
It wasn't for me.
Really? Okay, your list probably doesn't make sense then.
Anyway, I ordered mine by a kind of a combination of a couple factors: how easy it was to play,
Sure.
the fun I had doing so, and then and just the ease of doing it, I guess. So yeah, kind of like most of these, you're going to be able to do with just your webcam.
Okay.
You may have to have it positioned differently. Like
Yeah.
it may need to be positioned in your play area in front of you.
Yeah.
Or whatever. There may be one or two that you might have to have a second camera to do.
Sure.
And then there's some that you don't even need to have your playing area showed at all, really. But
Yeah.
we'll do that. So it's just in order of how much I like playing these games over it and their ease of play.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of how I made my list. I tried to go for simplicity, not on game rules, but in mechanics. Like a lot of my games don't have a whole lot of pieces. And I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Most of mine ended up being cooperative because I find it difficult where to do a competitive game. It's just like, okay, well, what if they have a hand of cards? Well, I mean, I can't have their hand of cards and play competitively when I know exactly what's in there. Or I hold their cards to the camera and I'm just like, oh, no, I won't look.
And
they're like,
cooperative.
You have two cooperative?
Yes.
That's so funny. Well, we'll have, as usual, we'll have a variety of lists. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I have an honorable mention. Did you do one?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So we can go ahead and get started with my honorable mention, which is...
Oh, gotta click on it. Sorry.
Tiny Towns. Now, this one is... The reason why it's an honorable mention is because this one is the only one on my list where it would benefit someone to have the copy. So, what?
I was just gonna say several of mine would require maybe both of you have to have the copy.
Okay.
Too. So that's something else to take into account.
Okay, perfect. I did not do that, except for this one. Like, all of mine, I have to where the owner messes with it, but everyone else can still participate.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was the only one that I was like, okay, it would work for someone to have a copy. But in all honesty, the game is so minimal, you could just draw your grid on a piece of paper and then literally write in the square. Like, if I'm like, oh, brick, you put in a B where you want it to go. And then you just have the camera showing what options are available in terms of cards, because this one can be played. I mean, Rado has actually done a video where he played it with another person over webcam, and they just kind of they both had the game, but they were able to play together and then score and so on and so forth. But very minimal pieces. You are able to, I mean, it's almost, you can make a print and play version of it and then just show the cards, and then, because all you're doing is calling out what kind of material you want.
Yeah, I thought about this one. I'd heard, and people were playing this on there, but mine's still in shrink. I haven't played it yet.
You are just so disappointing. You've been stuck at home and you haven't played Tiny Towns yet.
Yes.
Uh,
It's one I know that
this has a good solo mode too.
Yeah, I just haven't popped it open.
Yeah. You've been playing too many Cthulhu Death May Die.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that hostage negotiator.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's my number 11, my honorable mention, Tiny Towns.
Choice. I guess it's a good choice.
I like it.
My number 11 for honorable mention is a game you do not like.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, and this you'd both have to have a copy of this. Not have to, but it would benefit you both to have it.
Yeah.
Because pretty much you would be rolling the dice. The only time there's any interaction is when you get like I think it's the 3 skulls, and then it hurts you.
Yeah.
It's just a pad of paper, and you're rolling dice and moving pegs. This is one that that would be pretty seamless. I mean, if you both had a copy, if somebody's rolling the dice, you just fill out your turn and you roll your dice to do it. It's pretty back and forth,
right.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think, hey, I might like it that way because then it's like, wow, 3 skulls. Oh man, no, I didn't get that.
And that's another thing we need to bring up is you're only going to play remotely with people that aren't cheaters.
Sure.
Because a lot of these games, I may not have a camera down on your deal.
Right.
You're just taking into account that they're being truthful.
No, I know.
There's a couple of games that I have that you're going to have the play area shown.
Right.
But this one, you won't really have to. I mean, you might have to show them your pad every night just to see where they're at.
Yeah.
Stuff, because the game ending condition is when a certain number of buildings are done. So you kind of need to push. So maybe show after each turn, after you do your actions and stuff, maybe show your pad or something to the other player. But yeah. You could do this one with up to 4 players pretty easily on it.
That's true. And I mean,
everybody had their own copy or whatever.
Right. And another thing that is going to kind of just come naturally with this list is like none of these are going to be as easy or a replacement, at least in my mind, a replacement to actually playing in the same room. Like at least my list, it would be easier if everyone was there. These are just my top 10 games that I think would be best in a remote setting.
Yeah.
Without too much hassle. That was another criteria, was like I didn't want it to be a pain in the ass for everyone to even attempt to play.
Yeah.
It had to be simple to actually do remotely. So
that's
something to keep in mind.
I have one for sure that the experience does not change at all, whether you're remotely or playing together.
Okay, awesome.
We'll get to that later.
Sweet. All right, so my number 10 is actually one of my competitive games. So, and that is Power Grid. So Power Grid is an interesting choice because you would think that out of all of them, this is probably one of the most complex, and it is, I guess, in terms of actual gameplay. But there's never like a hand of cards. Like you're never holding anything. Everything that you choose from is open for for bidding for which ones that you actually want to draft and run. So in my mind, this is one where the camera is actually looking at the board, and then the person who owns the game is actually just kind of organizing all the players' power plants.
Yeah, I can see that if you did it that way.
And that's kind of how I envisioned all of these, was that the one who owned it, so kind of me, is I would just have every player designated, and then they just tell me, oh, I want to build there. And you could easily see, oh, this is how much money you have, and then you spend it, and then obviously, because everyone can see how much the resources are, oil, coal, it's not titanium, it's like petroleum, things like that. And then you just give them their money, and that's pretty much it. You organize their way of the buildings that they have to power, and then just place them wherever they feel like placing them. But everyone can visually see the actual board and be like, okay, well, I want to spend $10 to go to that spot because I can. Mm-hmm. And you put the $10 up, and then I mean they have to power them, and that's how you go up on the track. Everything's just visually there.
Yeah, I can see that.
So
sure.
I mean, yeah. So I think this would be pretty simple, and I didn't want to have only cooperative games
Mhm.
on the list. So I was like, okay, which competitive games don't have a hand of cards?
Right.
Like, don't have something that you would have to secret not know, but be the one doing it. Um, and this one doesn't. So that's my number 10, Power Grid.
Perfect. Well, my number 10 goes into that same roll and write deal as my honorable mention was. And it's
Oh,
Road
okay.
Settlers Roll and Write. This one has some unique um, stuff with it because they have some pages that are printable off their website even.
Yeah.
So if you both, it would help if both people had the game, but you wouldn't
Mhm.
do because you would just have some of the pads, and one person could roll under camera or whatever, and those are the
Yeah.
resources, and you have the little um, whatever the things, the little tabs that you take that give you the special
Oh,
ability.
the powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really, you're just filling out your stuff. It's all pretty much a solo game, really, except for the rolling of the dice. And
This game is so interesting. I hate it as a multiplayer game.
yes,
It is so
co
much.
awesome.
It's innovative. Oh, it's not innovative. Sorry. It's unique because you have a different building setup in the solo, but you don't have those in multiplayer. It's so weird that they did that.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, it's not a bad roll and write. I can definitely see. I would probably pick this one over. Oh well, it is. It's higher on your
right.
than your honorable mention. I think this one works a little bit better than the roll through the ages.
Hmm.
Because you're right, one person could easily roll and be like, "Here's what you got."
Right.
And just make it
There's
look.
less components. You don't have the wooden board and the pegs.
Yeah,
You have the resources that you have on that turn. So it's pretty.
yeah,
It's an ease of play stuff.
that's true. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yep.
I did not even remotely come to think of this. I don't even remember even looking at it and being like,
Well, roll and writes play themselves into this kind of deal a lot
That's
because
true.
it's just a pad of paper and you're marking and you know stuff like that. So
Yeah, I guess I don't have a whole lot of experience with roll and writes. I typically try to avoid them just because they all almost all seem samey.
yeah,
But this one I like Imperial Settlers, so I went out and got it, and I'm pleasantly surprised. It's still in my collection.
yeah. I don't have any more roll and write. Those were the only. It's funny that those are the only two roll and writes.
Right.
Those
All
last.
right. Good deal.
Yep.
My number 9 is actually another competitive game, but so probably all my competitive games are on the top, and that's Grata. So Grata is an interesting one because once again, it's going to come down to the person who owns it. In this case, it would be me. But this is also one where no one has any secret, like knowledge. It's all face up in front of them. Like, so what you do is you have people. I guess you would like what I do anyway is you can randomize the windows that you're trying to make, or have people just be like, oh, I want to do an easy one, and you just randomize between the different levels and then plug it in there. They can clearly see what they're trying to do because it's very color coded and vibrant. And then you roll the dice, and then depending on whose turn it is, they can see, oh, I want that red purple, and I want to put it there. And so you, as the player who owns the game, can take it and put it where they want it,
Right.
and they can visually see it just like they would in person. The only kind of difficulty would be the player powers, and like, I mean, that's just there. You can easily read what those are.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is they have a secret objective, but that'd be the one card that you would just have to be like, all right, read what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, you need yellows. That's it.
This was on my short list. This was
Okay.
that how I would do it is each person would have a copy.
Yeah.
And then what I would do is have some way. I don't know how you do it. That's why it didn't make my list because of the third camera. Because the drafting area,
Sure.
you'd log in, like let's say Zoom. You'd log in on your phone into that meeting and have the camera, covering that, and then you'd pick from that. That way, everybody could see the drafting area, but play on their own board in front of them.
Right. Well, the good thing about the good thing about this game is it has like very low real estate.
Right.
Like you put the dice in that because there's a dice tray that one of the expansions comes with. You put that there, and then you put the boards right. You can lay them right next to each other. There's nothing. My problem is, I guess I just inherently distrust people because in my mind I was like, okay, if everyone had their own copy, that would work. But the game is so specific about where you place those dice that they could be like, oh, I messed up, and then just swap them.
Yeah, and that's why I said you just have to play with trustworthy people. I mean,
I
if
don't
you
want to.
if they're assholes and you can't trust them, you shouldn't be playing with them anyway.
Right, right. But I mean, yeah. I mean, I was also just trying to. Once again, that's the simplicity. It's like, oh, I own the game, but we can still play.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just
That'll,
looking at the other way. You know, if you wanted to do it that way,
sure.
you know.
Yeah, but that's my number 9.
All right, my number 9. This is kind of funny. My number 9 is roll.
Oh,
And this one I was going to use kind of the same ideas like what I was just saying with Sagrada with having the extra camera, because this one does take up more space.
yeah.
Your own player board with yourself. I mean, you can hate draft, you know,
Sure.
for people, so you kind of need to see each other's boards too. But
Mhm.
there's also the marketplace. And then if you have the expansion, the minions,
Monsters and minions, or
stuff like that. So you need to have that little extra camera or somehow finagle it in your area so they can see it or whatever. But this is a fun one. You know, you just it's such a good. You can play it solo. I mean, it's
right.
plays just as well solo as it does competitively because there really isn't
Yeah.
much.
This is a good pick. Yeah, I ultimately went with Sagrada because it's simpler.
Yeah. Yeah,
It doesn't take as much real estate, but this is an equally good one. What made this list also more difficult was the fact that I didn't want to do the same theme over and over and over because there's a specific genre that lends it. You mentioned roll and writes. There's another genre that makes this game you could easily make it a top 10 of just that. But if people don't like that genre, then this whole list is null and void. So I wanted to have variety. So this would be a good one too if people didn't really care about making stained glass.
Yeah.
And like we said, this isn't the ideal replacement, so people are going to have to be a little bit more lenient with how things are working. So if you're trying to show someone your screen or your board and they can't quite see it, you're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, good choice.
Yep.
This game's fantastic. Where is Adventures?
It's actually in production. It's gonna. Oh, you mean? I thought you were talking about the other expansion.
No, I don't care about Fiends and Familiars. I want the Adventures.
The Kickstarter is in June.
Is in June. That's what I thought.
Yep.
Sweet. Okay, perfect. My number 8 is brand new to gaming in general, and oh boy, it just went up on my channel today actually, and I fucking love this, and it would be perfect to play remotely, and that is Forgotten Waters. So whenever it was funny, I didn't even think of this game until I was going through my list and I saw Tales of Arabian Nights, and I'm like, oh, you know what's better than that? This game. Tales of Arabian Nights would also be perfect because you're basically just reading stories to each other. Here, there is a lot more game to it, but with it being so app-driven and with it being cooperative, one person would need this. Well, I guess like what makes this a little bit more difficult is the player character sheets, which they're Mad Lib, so where you get your backstory and kind of how you're filling in your circles. You could, as a player, do that. That would be the only reason why having everyone own this game would be beneficial. But you can actually print those off. Never mind. You can print this off from their website, the player sheet, so they can do that, pick the one that they want, and then they can fill it in themselves. And then everyone, when they read their backstory or are filling in the constellations, they can do that themselves. And then the one person who owns the game, he'll be running, the app, and then that'll give them the timeline, and everyone can just see the board and be like, oh, I want to go here, based off of their initiative order. They're like, that's where I want to go. And there's no argument because it's like a hard rule with initiative. It's like if I'm higher, then I get to decide where I go first.
Right.
And it's very clean. This is actually probably the cleanest one out of all their storybook games, like where you are like there's no board, there's no map where you're like walking around. It's just like you place your mini or you place your standee on a spot, and then you just go, once everyone places, you just go down. So yeah, like this, and then with it being app driven, the app reads everything to you, and it is just
awesome.
Huh?
It looks awesome.
This game is by far their best Crossroads game.
I didn't even I saw the pre-order pop up and I was just like Gen 7.
Yep.
I never played it. I that kind of soured me on.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Like, I didn't actually pre-order this at first because of the same reason. I'm like, well, Gen 7 was $100, and they basically might as well have just shit in my mouth for that. And then, funny enough, Tom Vassell went on, and I was like, you know what, I'll just watch this review. And he raved about it, and I'm like, all right, it's $40.
Yeah.
I'll just, I mean, if it sucks, at least it's not 100.
Yeah.
And if this is them coming back because they're no longer under Asmodee,
Right.
then Plaid Hat is back. Like, I'm not kidding.
Well,
This makes Dead of Winter look like shit.
Yeah, they lost Isaac Vega though. That's the only problem. But
Well, they did lose him after this, didn't they?
But I'm so excited for Summoner Wars 2.0.
Oh, I mean,
once they send me the files and stuff, I'm all in for that.
Yeah. The only I want this to be supported. I want so many expansions for this because you have no idea. This game is just go watch my discussion on it. Everyone go watch my discussion. But yeah, and then maybe now that they're back, they'll bring back Guardians. Woo!
Maybe it depends on if it fell under Asmodee or not.
Oh, that's true. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one would be awesome remote. And would probably make this is by far the funniest game on my list.
Cool.
So my number 8, Forgotten Waters.
All right, my number 8 is one of my favorite games of this year, and it's Marvel Champions.
Oh, so okay, everyone would have to have a copy.
Well, no.
Really?
Not on this one. Well, you'd have to have a hero deck. I mean,
yeah,
you can buy a hero deck, because that deck is fully playable.
Yeah.
Or, you can send them a deck, mail them a deck or whatever, I mean, it's big, but as long as they had a hero deck, you would have your villain and all that stuff right there with you, or one
That's
of the
true.
would. And then it's fully cooperative, so you play it, you run the deck, the villain deck and stuff, and just go through it that way. Being fully cooperative, you'd be perfectly fine. All they have to do though is have a hero deck. So it's a pretty inexpensive way to play remotely. You get
that's true.
$12-13 deck.
That is, I mean, if you can even find a copy of the packs.
Yeah, there's some of them still around, but not a ton. But again, you can just send it to mail a deck to somebody too, especially if you're going to be locked in your house for 2 months. Just mail a deck to somebody, and
that's true. Yeah.
That's why it's on up here at 8 instead of further down. As much as I like the game, it's just a little bit of logistic stuff. But
sure.
But
yeah, I mean that's a good point though, that you could I mean someone could just order a deck. Granted, I don't think anyone would if they didn't have the base game. They would just have a deck for no reason. Yeah. So I think logistically you could send them one if you guys really wanted to play this game.
Right.
But I think definitely the easier option is if everyone had a copy, then they could, because then they would just you control your own deck.
Yeah. So that's where it fell in. It just the non-competitiveness makes it fine for one player to be doing the villain deck, and the minions, you'd know that one of them was which ones were attached to them. You could kind of camera wise show that.
Right.
So
awesome.
Yep.
My number 7 is a fully cooperative game, and that is Robinson Crusoe. So the reason why I picked this one was, one, it's cooperative, so even if people did have like their own unique things, then it's fine if the person running the game actually can he can see everything, and that's okay. But what's good about this one is everything is organized on that board. No one has any special cards. Well, they could have some like special abilities, but that could all be visible on camera.
Right.
And then all the resources, those get put in a very specific spot on the board to be spent. And since it's cooperative, you all have your scenario, whenever people decide where they want to go, the person running it just grabs a little, circular wooden disc and just places them around the actual board. And then once everyone is done, then you just go, left to right and then run the things and just read everything of what happens.
Yeah.
So
I still have never played this.
This game is a lot of fun. Their second edition is really good because it cleans up a lot of things, makes the rule book actually readable so you can learn the game. The only problem that I had was their replacement box wasn't as long, so it couldn't hold as much. And what sucks is they didn't make the expansion, The Voyage of the Beagle, compatible with this version.
Yeah.
So that's kind of shitty. But other than that, they made expansions for it, and like a lot of new scenarios that come in. So this is clearly the superior version. I love this game. I think this is a lot of people rip on it because it's too hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that should be any cooperative game.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not unbeatable. Like in your decisions and everything you do, like you lose based off what you've done versus like Ghost Stories, for example, which is also, hey, this is super hard. It's like, well, it's hard because you roll a die,
right,
and everything's random. So this one is a lot of fun. I like this game a lot. One I've had since I started gaming, and it's only gotten better, honestly, with age. It doesn't show its age at all. And would be a pretty good one remotely because people don't really have to like hold anything. They don't have to be there. They can just look at the board and be like, oh, well, let's do this. You'd have that collaboration over video chat, and then just the person just places where everyone wants to go.
Yeah. See, I own this. It was an early version of it.
Yeah.
I was trying to learn it, and it was just the rule book sucked ass, so I sold
it.
It's
rough.
It was the brown version, the longer brown. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I had that one too. It was a pain in the ass to try to sell because no one wanted that version. I don't blame them. However, I will say Portal Games has gotten a lot better with their rule books. I think after that first Martians, what?
Everybody's been smashing on them.
Yeah.
They had
I think whenever you have a game that comes out that takes a 40-minute video to help you even try to learn a game, which was their first Martians, which was supposed to be this, but in space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they finally went out and hired a translator.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 7, Robinson Crusoe.
Okay, let's see what my number 7 is, because I can't remember. Ah, yes.
Oh, okay. This is the tile laying one, right?
Yeah, it's almost like bingo in a way. Everybody would have to have a copy of this, but it is made for remote play because everybody just has their board in front, and you get your temples and your people set along the outsides. But then it's one person who would draw the tile, and then everybody has to place that number tile.
Oh, okay. So they're numbered.
Yeah, so you say this is 21. So everybody finds their 21, and they have to put it on their board legally. And then the same person pulls another tile, 33. Everybody has to place 33 down, and then it's like bingo, but it's more spatial, like you can choose to not place that tile, and however many exit points there are is how many spaces you can move your meeple towards a temple to try to get a treasure.
Okay.
So it's totally solo, zero interaction, zero luck. I mean, other than just because everybody's placing the same tiles. If anything, remote actually might work better because sometimes if you're playing with younger people and you have 4 people at the table and you're placing a tile, a lot of times some of the boards start looking samey because if you have new players, they kind of follow, they look at their neighbors, and it's like they're doing the same shit. So you can, doing it this way, you're not necessarily seeing their boards, know, and then you compare scores at the end.
That's a good one. I've never played this game, so I
try it. It'd be one that me and Kat need to try because it's super, super simple, but there are decisions to be made in it, and it doesn't take maybe 20 minutes to play. It's a really solid one.
Does Haba still even make games?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yep.
Yeah, because I've heard the company, and obviously a lot of people have talked about this game. Um, yeah, that sounds like, yeah, like you said, perfect for solo or not solo, remote gaming.
Yeah, it's a wonderful one. It was one of the first ones I thought of
Okay,
when I heard it, just because of how independent everybody's stuff is.
yeah,
So,
awesome. Yeah, good choice. My number six, going back to competitive, is one of the most, probably the most minimalistic game I have on this list, and that is
yep, that's what I was going to guess.
Onitama.
Yep,
I mean, honestly, chess could easily be on this, but this has even less pieces. Um, this you would only need to worry about one other person, and once again, you would have to show the board. But there's 5 cards total in the game and 5 pieces. I think 5 pieces.
and
And
everybody
so
knows
all
what
you do, huh?
everybody knows what the cards are after it's at
Yep,
a point once they've been played.
yep, exactly. So all you would have to do is like they'd be able to see, okay, hey, you're over here, and then you're red, I'm blue, and so yeah, you can easily. All you'd have to do is be like, oh, I want to move that piece like this, and
Right.
then the person just swaps them out, and
Yep.
that's the game. Onitama is a phenomenal chess replacement for me, and has just as much, well, maybe probably not just as much depth as chess does, but the fact that the cards are in play where any piece can move in the 2 that you have, but the card that you're giving away, um, like goes to will go to your opponent. There's a lot of thought behind it, and I think none of that gets lost when you're playing remotely.
Right.
Like because there's no, I mean, everything that I'm seeing, you're seeing. So there's no like the competitive like hand management. Like I was like, oh, sorcerer. No, like not even close.
Yep.
Uh, like unless you have like some stand that holds the cards to where they can only see it, and they have like third one from the left is the one I want to play.
Right.
You don't have to do that here, so you still get that 1v1 strategy going.
Hmm. All
So
right.
that's
Yeah,
my number six.
that's a good choice. I don't own it. I think I will at some point, but I play the app.
Oh yeah,
So I don't, you know, really have
right,
that much.
right, yeah. I mean, I've tried the app. It works perfectly fine. I mean, in all honesty, there's some games that are as an app. In fact, on Xbox Game Pass, there's Pandemic and there's Ticket to Ride.
Yep.
So it's like you can technically play those board games remotely,
Yep.
but obviously we're talking about the physical hard copy.
Right.
So yeah, my number six, Onitama.
All right. My number six is a game I don't think you like. You'd like it with more players, which makes this perfect for remote play.
Oh, okay. I was. You have to shoehorn this game into every list.
Well, but this one really will. And the only thing that you have to have a camera for is to show the eggs,
Yeah.
because everybody's deck is identical. So
Oh, right.
yeah, so there's not like you have to choose. So what? And this goes back to either everybody has a copy or you pass out text to people, whatever.
Yeah.
But everybody
Everyone
has.
would.
You can play up to 6, I believe. Yeah, 6. So
Yeah.
you could run a Zoom room with 6, have the just the one person controlling the eggs, and everybody shows their card to the camera. Because
Yeah.
normally you pick a card and lay it face down. Well, this one, 1, 2, 3, show the camera,
Yeah.
and then resolve.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, so this one really doesn't lose a whole lot. It just makes the game a little slower because you're not just show go.
Sure.
The only problem would be like you'd have to keep separate piles for when people got their positives, negative,
Yeah.
and then whenever some of the abilities were to go off, like get rid of one of your negative eggs or whatever, there'd be a little bit of
Right.
management there. But other than that, just have everybody having their same decks and stuff would make this a good one for a larger group.
Yeah. This one wouldn't be too bad. Like you said, the decks are all the same. I think yeah, it'd be easier if you were just like whatever you have them like show the back of the card like that whenever they're ready, and
Right.
then they flip it.
Exactly. Yep.
And then if there's like one guy who's delayed, it's like, oh, Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Oh, no, I dropped it. It's like, yeah, no, it's the one that works well for everything you guys showed.
Right. So, but
Like
yeah,
you said,
this one having the number of people being able to play it is a big part of it, because
yeah,
the more people you play this with, the better it is. When you play it at 5 to 6 people, it shines. We played
yeah,
it
we
at
played it
3,
at 3.
and that's the minimum, and it sucks at that low.
Yeah,
But the higher counts, it is fun as hell because there's just shit flying everywhere.
right.
It's awesome. Anyway,
Okay, awesome.
I'm
Good
sorry.
choice. My number 5, I will be curious if it is on your list. Guess we didn't even talk about how many crossovers we'd have, but sounds like we probably won't have many.
I don't think we'll have any now at this point.
Yeah, probably not. My number 5 is Mansions of Madness. So this one is probably the busiest game I have on my list.
Yeah.
But once again, it's fully cooperative. And this is the one, people don't really have hands of cards to where they have to decide anything. It's mainly just a bunch of items that you could organize. And it's funny because thinking of this, like playing remote games, there was a YouTuber I used to watch years ago. I do not remember his YouTube channel name, but he would play these kinds of games solo, but he would just run like a bunch of different people. And his editing, he was always really good and really precise. Um, but it would just work just like that. You would have like the heroes, like the different players all organized around the board, and then the items that are going around. But with this being app driven, like it wouldn't. One person would just place all the tiles, place all the things, and then he'd read out everything. Oh, it's your turn. Where do you want to go? Oh, I
Right.
want to move there.
I almost wonder if how on Zoom, at least I'm speaking strictly with that, because you can use that, like I have a MacBook here. You can have the app brought up on this, and then you can share your screen and have the screen going
Oh, yeah,
with that map, and then you can even have the audio to have the spooky music going and
yeah.
over the screen too. And because you could flip back and forth, you could do that and then go back to the picture of the game board.
That's true actually. Or not even the app. You can go on their website.
Right.
I think there's a web version of it. So you would just
that'd be a kind of a cool way.
Yeah, because then you could sit there and then based off the board, you can move your mouse. I mean, you're not seeing my mouse, but if people are like, oh, I want to move there, you can be like here and point the mouse to where you want them to go. And then you just move their piece. I mean, because everything is very simple. You have 2 actions a turn.
Right.
And then it's pretty obvious. Okay, well, I want to move there and I want to search that token. And with the website, I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I didn't put this game on my list because of the busyness, but then I got to thinking about how you could do the sharing of the deal. That.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to manage some tokens, like for each individual person, and you would be the one rolling dice. But I mean, it's dice, so it's not like anything's gonna be special or different based off of who's rolling.
Right.
You can sit there and be like, oh, you rolled 1 success and 2 magnifying glass. Okay, do you want to spend your 2 clues to turn those into successes?
I like puzzles and stuff.
Well, that's all on the web page too.
That's
So you might even be able to give control
yeah,
to someone when they want to do their turn, and then also just like, oh, okay, well, I want to move that here, and then they can do the puzzle themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
So perfect. Yeah, I mean, that might have actually probably been higher on my list had I thought of the fact that there's a web page, a web version of the app.
Yeah,
So,
that one probably would have made my list up. It would have been higher up. Like I would have already have said it.
Oh, okay.
Because my next 5 will be ones that are pretty solid.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. So that's my number 5, Mansions of Madness.
All right. My number 5 was the Spiel winner this year or last year. Yeah, whatever we want to do it. Both players are going to have their copy. Wax. Did you ever play this?
I have it. It's on the shelf.
Yeah, it's awesome. pretty much on this one, it's a push your luck game. Everybody would need to have their own copy because it's a bag building game, and pretty much it runs pretty solo, because you have your bag of stuff. You're just going to keep putting stuff out into your pot, either until it pops or you stop, and then that's how you get your victory points. Plus, it's also the currency for you to buy new chips, put in your bag, and then you just rinse and repeat. And you just keep doing that. So you could have the scoreboard. One person could have the scoreboard out, filmed, because there is the whole rat tails catch-up mechanic and stuff.
Okay.
But other than that, it would just be something because it's totally solo. If you don't take turns, except for that very, very last round. Okay. Pretty much you're just drawing and placing, and it's all just remember Dinosaur Island, how that whole action stuff's supposed to just be everybody just goes throwing pace until they're done.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same thing here. You just keep throwing stuff out until you're done, and then you pass. Either you bust or you pass. And so that's how it would go on that. And everybody I've played this game with, I haven't played it remotely, but everybody I've played this game with has just loved it.
Yeah.
So
I bought it specifically because you raved about it, and I mean it's on the shelf. I mean, I'll get to it at some point.
Yeah, and it's
that company, North Star. They make me hesitant to even try any of their games.
This is their best game.
Okay.
By far. like this game is, when we do our top 100 at some point, it's going to be way up there, just because it's
spoiler for around December.
Well, way up there could be 40, 50.
Wow.
I don't know. It just depends. Once I start messing stuff, there's an expansion for it as well. But anyway, yeah, each person need a copy, but really it's just, you're just playing your own, mess with your own bag of tokens.
Okay. Awesome. Good to know.
Yep.
My number 4 this is not the genre that I was thinking of initially, but this is also kind of perfect. And I picked this one over the Exit series. You can go ahead and pull it up. And that is the Unlock games. So, but escape room adventure type. The reason why I picked this one over the Exit ones is because this is a lot more hands-off. The Exit ones, you have to cut up stuff and you have to fold it. And a lot of people might want to see it, and they can fold and be like, oh, how's that working? And they can't. So here you have just your escape room. It's a deck. And you could easily just visually put the cards, and then the camera is showing all the cards. And anyone can look at it and be like, oh, okay, what if we do this? Or what if we try putting this code into the app? Once again, through any type of web-based service, we could just hook up the app and put it on the screen. So that would also work if people. But the app is really a glorified timer. Like there's nothing like the Mansions of Madness app. But with these, you have so many different games, so many different types of unlocks, ranging from different types of difficulties, that depending on who you're playing with, you have the option. And it's really cool because really how you move and progress through the deck is you just find, oh, okay, well, we're going to add this red number to this blue number, which gives us 30. And then the person just grabs the deck, finds 30, and you're like, yep, that was right. And then that's that. Like, out of all the Exit style games, this is by far the easiest because there's nothing. Every card is always out on the table. No one ever collects them.
Yep.
So
I messed with 2 of these.
Which ones did you try?
I did the mouse one.
Okay, Squeak and Sausage.
Yeah, I did that one with my daughters, and we had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And then I did a lab one, something about a lab or something, and we just hated it.
I'm trying to think of the lab one.
It's like what is that one in the middle?
The formula?
Oh, that was it.
Okay.
Yeah. We did that one, and we hated it. We didn't even finish it.
It's weird because like each one of these box sets, because I think there's 4 out now, each one of them has one bad one. Really? But then they have one really good one. Mm-hmm. And then one, it just depends, like on the group. Like, for example, there's one set that their level 3, because it's like they have like level 1, 2s, and 3s. Their
Right.
level 3 was Wizard of Oz,
Mm-hmm.
and it was super easy because you just followed the story of Wizard of Oz. And so, unless you didn't know that movie, then it's like, all right, I guess this is hard. Um, but there was one set where it was like 8-bit. It was like a video game, and that one was awesome because that one specifically did use the app a lot more, like as kind of a video game. So I guess it does vary on which escape you're doing,
Right.
but for the most part, everything's just out on the table, and you can easily just look at it, and everyone can converse and theorize. So, and if people want to see a card closer, you just hold the card up to the camera. So this one I think would work pretty well. So that's my number 4.
All right. My number 4 is the oldest game on any of our lists. I guarantee it. And
I doubt it.
you doubt it? Well,
I
maybe I
doubt it.
got you underestimated. This is the game that I said you lose nothing at all playing remotely over together. You have any guesses?
No, I have no idea. Chess. Oh.
1931 was when this first came out.
Yeah, no, I have Go on my list.
You do?
No.
So
My
anyway,
number 1. It's like from the 11th century. I don't know when Go came out.
This is the one I sent the picture of the cat because there's so many different kinds. There's
Oh.
Star Wars one that's pretty cool. They're all the same. But pretty much, I mean, you could do this with paper and pencil. I mean, and make it.
That's true.
It's just there's no difference in sitting across from each other at a table or doing it this way. You set your board up, you do it, you call it out, hit, miss. This one is made for that kind of stuff. I mean, there's nothing that you miss out of this unless you're playing with cheaters, of course, but they can still cheat when you're playing with them.
That's true.
Um,
I thought we were doing hobby gaming.
it is
No, you do not have no one in
on
no one with
BGG.
no one with our sick addiction doesn't has Battleship on their Calyx shelf.
You'd be surprised.
Like,
People have chat.
and that reminds me, there was a guy I was talking to, and he was talking about Pandemic, and he's like, man, this might be my favorite game right after Monopoly. And I'm like, I don't know if you're joking or like Battleship. I mean, you are not wrong. Like, Battleship is one of the perfect remote games. So, and for the record, Go became popular around 794 to 1185.
No, I know that. I just didn't think you had on your list.
No, I don't. I was just curious. Wow. All right. Yeah, you're not wrong. This would be a good one to play remotely.
It's boring.
I wouldn't.
Probably after a while, but it's the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Okay. My number 3 is my number 3. Go to my number 3. I don't have a lead up. This War of Mine. So, once again, this is one that only one person would have to own the game, because everything in regards, there's no cards, there's no nothing. Everything is out on the board. All the cards are centered around the board. All the resources get put in a specific spot on the board, similar to Robinson Crusoe. And the cool thing about this one is, unlike Robinson or Mansions, is no one controls a specific person.
Right.
Like, everyone kind of controls, all 5 of the people. 4 to, I think, 4 to, I think you can have 6 people in your town. I think that's the max. They're just off to the side. You just have to manage their well-being as the game progresses. So I guess the only real thing is, like, everyone has a role based off the journal. It's like, oh, I'm the dusk role, and then no, I don't play that way. You can just go around and, like, I don't know how it works with controlling the actual meeting, but you can, like, pick. I guess if you can, like, pick someone, and it's like, oh, hey, you need to do the day actions, but no one does that.
Right.
So the fact that everyone controls the same people, everything is face value, it's a narrative cooperative game that, you know, I mean, one person could easily do this while others are involved because that's kind of what it is anyway. Um, I really play this game with two people, like me and another person. Anything other than that, I feel like that the third and fourth person doesn't really have a whole lot to do. Um, Similar to Seventh Continent, like one or two people, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the games are so free flowing. This one is a lot more structured than Seventh Continent, but it's like if you're gonna have any type of aggressive personalities, anyone who's not as aggressive is just gonna sit there and feel bored if they're not enveloped in the story. So that makes it even easier because it's you and another person trying to decide how best you want to survive.
Yeah. See, I only play this strictly solo, so that's why
Sure.
I didn't even consider it really because, you know.
Because you only play it solo. It's funny, a lot of games that I was thinking of, I was like, oh, that works great solo. That would work great
Yeah.
in this, but it didn't work. And then it made me think of, oh, well, we did a solo top 10. Everyone go watch that because like that's perfect. Get into solo gaming.
Right.
But yeah, and the reason Seventh Continent isn't on my list because of I mainly played solo, and there is like a hand of cards that people would have to kind of manage. So it's just this one just fit the bill a little bit better. So yeah, that's this war of mine.
All right. My number 3 is a game that is, for all intents and purposes, is dead now. It's not the
Okay.
one, not the one you're thinking. It's competitive, and it is Star Wars.
Oh.
I like the cover she picked. um, so this game,
This looks like a slightly off-brand Daisy Ridley.
yeah, this was the cheap 2-player starter that they put out
Okay,
around the time Last Jedi came out.
gotcha.
There's others, yeah, but anyway, this one is it's a 1v1 competitive. It's deck construction, just like Netrunner or anything like that. And
Hmm.
some of the cards that you choose to put in your deck has a die attached to it. So once you get that played out in front of you, then that die comes into play, and you roll those dice at the beginning of the phase, and then you can use them. You go back and forth. Do one action, one action, one action, one action. So you just need to have. You do the same thing with like Magic the Gathering. You know, you just have your play area showed, your opponent's play area showed. Draw a deck, all that,
Oh yeah.
and then you just play it out.
Sure.
There is interaction, but it's easy to do. It's no different than if they play something that makes you switch a die to whatever you do. They see it, they say, okay, switch that ray die to the opposites, and you just do it. You know,
Yeah.
it's no different than playing across the table, these 1v1 games like this. You just have to make sure to show the area.
You know, that is true. I did not even consider that because, like I said, a lot of actually every game I picked, I chose for one person owning.
Right.
I didn't even think about games like Magic, or it's like, okay, well, they can have their own deck and you just show their play area. That would be the exact same.
Yep. So, and this would be great. I mean, I have a huge collection of it right now. It never gets played because around here has it anymore, but I'm not going to get rid of it because I'm a Star Wars nerd. And
Well, you don't come over anymore.
right, and we need to play it.
Yeah.
I think you'd like it. It's because there's a lot of dice manipulation, so you don't get screwed.
That's good. So you don't get screwed where it's like, wow, you only won because I rolled like shit.
No, I mean, no, you can still get screwed if you are horrible at your manipulation of dice because I can do stuff to make you flip your dice too. You know.
Gotcha.
So it's just 1v1. You're just trying to take out the other person, kill their team of 2. You always have like 2 people. But it has a pretty good theme on it and stuff. But yeah, it works well.
Awesome. Yeah, good pick.
I thought about Netrunner, but there's too much interaction. Like sometimes you're playing cards on their side and stuff.
True.
And
that's a good point. Yeah, I don't think Magic would work either.
Yeah, it just depends. If maybe you have an area that you lay stuff. I don't know.
Well, it's also like, let me think. Yeah, there's very rarely, I guess it depends on the type of deck you make, where you actually take your opponent's stuff and put them on your side.
Yeah.
But I guess it would vary. This one seemed a little bit more cleaner.
Yeah, this one's just straight. Your stuff's your stuff. You know, when you spin stuff, you just put it on you. Everything stays on your side.
Wasn't there a Star Wars card game?
There was an LCG, and it was a competitive.
That's what I thought.
One game where you were trying to use the dark side against light side, and they were trying to get the Death Star to fire off, and you were trying to stop them. And there was different odds and ends. It had a long life, but I didn't like the game.
Yeah.
So this was awesome. I like this, but as like anything else, this was my Netrunner replacement.
And then it died.
Buying it, and then it dies. So
you just need to stop finding replacements.
Well, the next one will be a possible replacement for it.
You can try L5R.
I don't like Asian stuff.
Oh, that's right. I think that's dead too. I think any type of game Fantasy Flight makes like this just dies.
They're going cooperative. Like Marvel Champions, Arkham Horror. They're sticking because that stuff just keeps selling, and they don't have to worry about price support as much.
That's true. I think at this point, any type of competitive 1v1 tournament style stuff, Magic's just gonna kick its ass.
Yeah. Sadly.
Even no one's talking about Keyforge.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's still selling. I don't know where it's being played.
I'm sure. But here's the thing: Magic, Wizards of the Coast, they've already announced they're doing the exact same thing, quick deck thing. So I don't remember what they're calling it, but they've specifically said it's their competition for Keyforge, and it's like, okay, well, there you go. They already won.
I don't know why they have to feel like they have to compete with Keyforge. It's they're
yeah. I don't know why either. Keyforge had a really good. We're not talking about Keyforge. I hate that game.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but
it wasn't bad. It just wasn't what I was wanting.
Star Wars Destiny is awesome though.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot whenever a lot of the stuff calms down. We also need to play Sorcerer together.
Oh God, yeah, I love that.
So you can wreck me at that.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. It won't be you.
I only win about 50% of the time.
All right, my number 2. I realized I actually kind of gave Kat the wrong version. This version will work perfectly fine, but I had one in my head, and you can go ahead and go to it, and that is Codenames.
You're talking about Duet?
I really meant Duet.
Yeah.
But this would also work.
Yeah.
Just as fine as this version. So Codenames or Codenames Duet are my number 2. This one, once again, only one person needs to own, and you and your team, like you and the other person, and then the other team and their person, all they need to know, all they would need to know is their side. So luckily you can position the camera in such a way that they can see just their side, and you as the owner can also see your side. And then really the cards are just static, so they stay there, and you give verbal hints to your teammate, and then they can also see the board and be like, okay, like if you're like Western 3 and they're like Cowboy, and you're like, yeah, that is one. This is probably one of the easier ones. This one, because I was trying to think of like party games. I'm like, party games would probably be good for a remote setting, and this one was the one that just shot to the top of my brain when I was thinking of any type of option. So yeah, like Codenames Duet would be a little bit easier because it's less people to manage, but it's going to work the exact same way because of just the color coordination of the cards, and then the one person who owns it will just take it and place the tokens where they need to be.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't really have much to say. Codenames, I love this game. I actually love Duet a little bit better. It feels harder.
Yeah, I have this version that's on the screen. We've played it some. It doesn't hit the table a ton. I don't mind it. It just doesn't get to the table a bunch.
Yeah, I find Duet hits the table a lot more than this one, just because it's one other person I need to play with. But it's hard. You have to really get into the mind of the person you're playing with.
Yes.
There's a friend I tried doing this with, and he kept thinking puns.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't think this way. I have no idea what you're talking about. But then tried it with another friend who him and I are like on the same wavelength, and we ended up winning. So it's a good game. Codenames, I don't feel like it's talked about as much anymore.
It's kind of gotten there are some other games that have come out this last year or so that are kind of cutting this one off a
Mm.
little bit, like Medium and Just One.
Oh, Just One is a good one.
Yeah, there's some games that are party games. I think that the people, all the hundreds of thousands of people that bought Codenames are now moving on to, those
Yeah,
ones or stuff.
Just One I thought of as well. But that one is people have to write, so that was one that everyone would have to own the copy.
Right.
And like I said, I've tried to think of games that people didn't have to own the copy.
Yep.
So yeah, that is my number 2, Codenames or Codenames Duet, mainly Duet.
Yes. Well, my number 2 is the one that I think is going to be my competitive replacement for 1v1 games.
Okay.
And it just kickstarted for a cooperative deal. I'm still waiting on the Kickstarter to show up, but that's Dice Throne.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I haven't played this yet.
They run. Did you do the Kickstarter?
No, but I do have like a pledge manager that I could fill out.
Okay.
I might do that.
I've played this a few times with Chad, and it's the reason I put it on here on this list is because how they do it, how they sell it is like there's 2 characters per little box in the seasons.
Yeah.
So like if somebody had one of those boxes, because you can buy them like that. If somebody bought one of those boxes, you could play remotely that way, because your deck of cards, your dice, everything, they're all game trays in there. So you just take the tray out and it has everything for that hero. So that's all you need. And then they open theirs up and they have theirs. So this would be another one like Star Wars Destiny, where you'd have a camera down on their board.
Yeah.
And then you just roll dice. When it's your turn, you roll dice. You get it all set up Yahtzee style. And then you have cards that alter stuff. And then depending on what you have, there's all these different abilities on your dashboard that depending on what you roll, that will happen and it'll cause damage or whatever to them. You're trying to kill them.
Yeah.
And stuff. So it's just a lot of back and forth. But this one it's just super fun and thematic. Like when so many different heroes and they're so unique and so fun to play. The guy on the left on that picture, the big barbarian guys who I have, and if you roll a ultimate, which is getting all 6s for all the purposes, it's just like some crazy powerful, like 20 damage deal or something.
God.
Or whatever. But there's so many different things out, and then this doesn't go with the remote play, but the co-op version of it's going to be where you can use all these heroes and you can run them in to try
like a campaign.
Yeah, and you level them up. You can buy, everything. It's going to be really neat. But the competitive part of this is for remote play. You do it a lot like how I said earlier with Star Wars Destiny. It's just this one it's fun just because it's just tongue in cheek, just go at each other, and it's just funny. Some of the big swing plays you can get. There's a currency, like an energy currency, and that's how you play cards and stuff, because you have a little dial that you keep track of and stuff.
Yeah.
But no,
this one, it's been on my radar for a while, because I don't know what it is lately. I have just really been into card games and 1v1.
Mm-hmm.
So like, Sorcerer was one we keep bringing up. This one's 1v1. I don't know. I just Enchanters.
Yeah.
I'm really digging the type of card games that are coming out lately. So just because I don't do Magic as much anymore, because I really don't feel like if I'm gonna spend a lot of money on something, I want it to be on a game instead of one card.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's neat because when you take out that game trays thing and you just open it up and everything is set for that character, everything's thematic, all the tokens that come in there for whatever their special abilities may be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really cool how they have everything. And then they sell those things called battle chests, and so that's like all those characters put into one big box. So I went all in on this last Kickstarter. I got season 1, season 2, and the adventures.
Was that the legendary collector?
probably.
Okay, because I still have the pledge manager.
I didn't do any of the miniatures for.
That's right.
It
I
was just
think mine is. Yep.
I would just do the standees just because.
No, they come painted.
I know, but I
They
mean,
don't do anything, but they're painted.
right. So anyway, and they actually Roxley Games, they actually have a competitive scene and prize support and stuff for this.
There you go.
You know, it's
Ooh,
a neat game.
here's some advice real quick because with the minis and them all painted is $340. Sometimes, like you and I will both waver on high-end Kickstarters. Put all your money, just buy a huge set of Kingdom Death Monster, and then $340 will seem like nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, I look at these pledges now, and I'm like, oh, that's less than the core game for KDM. I think I can afford that.
Right. But yeah, this is a really cool 1v1 game. It's my favorite one I've played since Netrunner. If that means anything.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean,
there is dice luck. I mean,
sure.
but it's Yahtzee style. So I mean, you get chances to, and then there's cards you have that can alter your dice manipulation and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, my number one, I am technically cheating because I have two in my number one. And this is the genre that I said could have easily just filled up at least half of this list. And do you have any guesses? I'll give you a hint.
I was gonna say Pandemic.
No, that one because everyone had their hand of cards.
Right. So that.
So this one, no. I mean, it's fully cooperative. That's one hint. Both of the games uses electronics.
Operation.
No, you can go ahead and click it. You'll
Oh
there you
yeah,
go.
yeah. I thought about this with Chronicles of Crime, but I was trying to logistically figure it out.
Like, so with both of these games, when I was thinking of this list, these are the ones that came up. And I put them both as number one because they're not the same game. But they're the same genre, that true crime whodunit kind of thing. And I easily could have put Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective. I could have put Scotland. No, Scotland Yard isn't the same genre. There's another one where it's Z Garcia talks about it all the time. It's the one that looks very pulpy. Pulp Detective.
Is it True Detective?
No, it's not.
I know what you're talking about, though. Let me look. You keep talking about these.
Okay.
I'll find it.
So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Detective, a Modern Crime board game first. The fact that it is basically, once again, everything is static. All the cards and all that, the person who owns the game would just need to have that deck out. And then the fact that this is a website, Portal Games has designed a website where almost all the questioning, the clues go into this website. You just is all there. So in a remote setting, you could just show that on your screen, similar to what we were talking about with Mansions of Madness. And so and then the fact that, I mean, no one does anything. You could have someone who's remote be the note taker, write down notes. A lot of both of these games are very word of mouth. Even Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, one person reads and then everyone decides, oh, okay, well, what do we want to do? No one has to move pieces. Detective, you kind of have to move your little robot, your little, car to different locations, but that's virtually nothing. And then you just, hey, let's decide. And then in both of these and Sherlock Holmes, you just, as a group, you decide, okay, well, we're done. We think we solved it. So let's go to the end. You answer the questions together and boom, you see how well you did. I picked these two specifically over Sherlock was because it's more modern. You're playing board games remotely through the internet. So Detective literally is on the internet with its website. And then, nope, that's not it.
Okay.
That game sucks though. and then Chronicles of Crime, that one is a little bit more hands-on, I guess, because you play as an individual person. Oh no, you don't actually. That's the Redview. Welcome to Redview. So Chronicles of Crime, that one has a little bit more pieces, but one person controls the app, then they can sit there and they just scan it, and then I mean, I guess the VR is a little bit more complex, but one person could just be looking at that, and then um, and then they just explain what they're seeing, and as they find it, then boom, like it's there, and then everyone can decide, oh well, let's go here and talk to this person, let's go back to the bar and talk to that person now that we have this evidence. So they both work. Well, in my mind, they both would work fantastically remote, and yeah, so that's why they're my number one.
I can't find that game. I don't know. I know what one you're talking about. I just can't think of what it is. My number one. It's a good thing you cheated a little bit for your number one and put 2 games on there, because
Yep.
my number one is something that there's not really a board, right?
Okay.
And this
It's
is
a video game.
well, no, it's no.
Call of Duty.
This is something I had never played before up until this last couple of months,
Okay.
since we've been under quarantine, and
Yeah.
that is Dungeons and Dragons.
That's an awesome choice.
Right.
Like, oh, but it's not a game.
Right.
It's an activity.
And this looks like the old version. Right now, like we just finished a campaign, a short little run campaign. We're starting another one Sunday.
Oh, you're actually playing?
Yeah. So like we're getting ready to do a D&D 5th edition campaign starting Sunday. The Chads and this other guy's running it this time. But
Awesome.
I'd never played Dungeons and Dragons up until like a month or 2 ago. So they talked me into it, and we've done it, and it works perfectly for remote. I mean, it's, you have your game master, he's doing stuff, everybody rolls their dice. We didn't really take, everybody's honest there, so everybody just kind of rolled the dice off camera and
right,
said what they got, and then Chad would tell us what happened, and it was a really cool, fun way, because you have to be creative, and like Denton would be like, you did a killing blow, describe how you killed him,
yeah,
a lot of stuff. This is like, it was pretty neat, all the stuff. And Fletcher, he's above and beyond, wants to do the biggest glorified booze ever, so I never thought I would have had this on any list, because I always, it's like, I'm never going to play a role-playing game. I was like, but no, I really enjoy playing it now and stuff. So, and the reason this is number one is because I've actually been truly remotely playing this the last few months.
Yeah.
And it's been working seamlessly.
I didn't even think of this, and this is an awesome choice. Like,
it's not technically a board game. That's why I was like, But
well, I mean, the title is, top 10 remotely playable games.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's perfectly fine.
So I guess I didn't. At least I don't remember specifying board game.
No, I think I probably just pictured.
And this fits in this is in the wheelhouse. Like, I'd say this one fits more than Battleship does.
Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of like the hobby,
Right.
But yeah, this is perfect. I mean, yeah, like you said, everyone you play with someone who's truthful, so it's like, wow, another 20. It's like, that's your 10th 20 in a row. Like, no, it didn't. You die.
Right. So
the only stipulation is the person in the group, like the people you're playing with, one of them has to be a good DM.
Well, and that's what we've been blessed to have that with these guys, because Denton and this other guy have ran many campaigns, and they do it well.
Okay.
So that was my first experience jumping in, and it was kind of a do or die. They knew it was my first experience deal.
Yeah.
So, and they did a really good job at it. So that's why it's probably just going to be something we'll be doing, weekly over the computer.
This is what I do weekly. I will say though, like, have you only been playing this over like remotely?
Yeah, because
Okay,
we didn't start it until the quarantine started. So
sure. Yeah. It is a lot better in person.
yeah,
Um, because I've tried doing remote sessions, and it's for me, it could have just been the DM, but it just wasn't as engaging.
hmm
Um, and whenever you're in the same room, you don't tend to talk over one another as much. But other than that, like, yeah, this is a really good one. If I had even thought of that, that would have probably been, oh man, that would have been up there, at least top three.
yeah, because I mean, we'd even, especially on Zoom here, where you could share the screen. Denton would share a screen and he'd have pictures up because he had all the PDFs of all the guides.
Oh, awesome.
He'd bring up the pictures, or when we were at the very beginning, when we were selecting our gear and doing all that stuff, he had the page pulled up on the share screen so we could kind of look at stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, it really works well on Zoom. I don't know about the other platforms, but yeah, it was a blast. They broke my cherry of RPG.
Pop, popped your old D&D cherry.
Yeah.
That's hot. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Did it hurt? No. Uh, yeah, awesome. Well, that's it, everyone. That is our top 10 remotely playable games. Let us know what games that you've been playing remotely, or things that you would think would work great remotely in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.